and welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. This is Sean Snyder, our Volunteer Coordinator, and we're here to introduce you to a handful of the adoptable pets that are here at Animal Control right now. Our first guest is Willow, and she is one of our greeter cats. She's in one of the first cages, so she's going to be one of the first animals that you see. She is a beautiful cat. She's got super soft fur. In fact, that's the first thing that Sean commented on, was how soft her fur was. She's a beautiful brown tabby and white. She's got big eyes, but she is a senior, which can be a little bit detrimental in the adoption process because some people are always looking for kittens. They don't want cats that are a little bit older. She's about 6.5, so she's really just an adult. She's not really a senior, but here we start considering cats to be seniors at age 5, and we offer a discount of $20 off their adoption fee when they're between the ages of 5 and 9. Willow came to us because her family said that she was moving. They did provide us with some information. Although she's a little nervous right now and is not inclined to sit on a lap, they did say that she was a lap cat. But they did also say that she was afraid of strangers, and there are some strangers in the room today. She can be a little shy. She's able to be handled. It says that she tolerates the dogs that they lived with. So wasn't a huge fan, but could live and coexist peacefully, but weren't cuddling and things like that. One of the really important things that we've noticed about Willow since she's been here is that she does have some dental disease. So when we check their teeth, it's graded from 0 to 4 out of 4. And her dental disease right now is 4 out of 4. So we are trying to get her set up with a teeth cleaning with our sister nonprofit Focus right now, but that is something that if we were not able to take care of, that her family would need to do as soon as possible. Not only can it be uncomfortable because she is going to need some extraction, so it can be painful, can affect what she can and can't eat, could affect her mood. Just think about how you feel when you have a toothache. So it's something that we want to take care of for those reasons, but also if it's not taken care of, it could start to affect other parts of her body and different organs and things like that. So it's really important to get that taken care of. So those are all things that you want to keep in mind if you're interested in making Willow part of your family. She's a sweet cat and deserves a loving home. You can visit her here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Most of our adoptable cats right now are domestic short hairs, but Layla stands out because she is a domestic long hair. So when you have a long-haired cat, you do want to make sure that you're putting more emphasis on their grooming. Cats do groom themselves, but you want to help them out, make sure that they're not getting any mats or anything like that, because those can be painful, and we want to make sure that our animals are as comfortable as possible. Layla is a tortie and white. She is a beautiful cat. She definitely stands out on the adoption floor, and she's also one of our seniors at 8 years old. Layla was previously owned, and she was brought to us because they said she did not get along with small children. So that's cool. Not every cat or dog or person, for that matter, needs to get along with small children. They just have to, live in an environment where they don't have to deal with it all the time. So it could be an issue where just the loudness of small kids, the constant motion could be affecting her, or it could be a situation where the kids in the household were not interacting and respecting Layla's space properly. So a lot of kids want to pick them up and carry them around and poke them and pet them in places that maybe they don't want, or pet them in ways that maybe they're not a fan of. So it's really important to teach all children from a very early age how to respect the animals in the household. Animals speak with their bodies, and their body language can tell us how they're feeling. And just like in a human interaction and situation, they start out more subtly, and then they get more pronounced with what they're trying to say, and then eventually things can escalate. So if you as an adult or a child is not listening to what the cat is saying, then it might escalate to swatting and nipping and those types of things. So it's important to make sure everyone understands what's going on there. But given her history, it might be better suited for Layla to go to a home with adults only or older kids. Now that could just mean 10. It could mean just kids that are a little bit more mature. It's all about her interaction with you here in the shelter, which is why it's important to make sure that you're bringing your kids in and everybody in the household visits with the animal to make sure it's going to be a good fit. Otherwise, they say that she's just nervous and afraid of strangers. She does was indoor only. They said that she did get along with dogs. So they didn't really have a lot to say about her, but as we get to know her and as our volunteers get to know her, we'll be able to provide you with more information on her personality. Right now, she seems a little bit nervous, but she's only been on the adoption floor for a short time. If you are interested in adopting Layla, you can visit her here at the shelter Monday through Saturday. Up next, we have a pair of cats that would do better together. You know, if we absolutely had to adopt them out separately, we would, but our preference is going to be that Jack and Rowdy be adopted together. So on Sean's lap, we have the black cat. He is about a year old, and his name is Jack. And then sitting on my lap is a 4-year-old Rowdy. And they, it seems like a tenant left, you know, wherever they were living and left these guys behind. Seems to be the case from what the person who surrendered them wrote. So unfortunately, they got left behind. So they are looking for a fresh start. And keeping them together means that they're going to have somebody to keep them company, but also to make them feel safe. We really put a lot of thought into these decisions because we want to make sure that we're doing the best thing for the animals. So if we're writing that they would do better together, then it's because they truly would. A lot of cats you know, provide emotional support and comfort, so we want to make sure that they have that if they really need it. Sometimes they get really upset when they're separated. When you put them back together, they start to calm down and relax and things of that nature. These guys are a little bit different in their behavior. So Jack is the more shy of the two, but he seems to be doing a little bit better out here. Maybe that's just because he's shy and doesn't really want to go be too crazy and explore, whereas Rowdy is color-coded green, so he's more active. He is the one that kind of wants to get down. He's you know, very talkative. He wants to go explore, and that's kind of probably how their behaviors will be at home. The person who surrendered them did say that Jack likes to play with toy balls. He likes to bat those around, and then Rowdy likes to play with the feather stick toys. So he really likes those things that get him up and moving around and jumping all over the place. They say that Rowdy is a lap cat, which he hasn't really been showing for me today, but in a more quiet environment, once he's relaxed and settled in, he might be more inclined to do that. He's very playful. And then they say that Jack is also playful, but he can also be more shy, nervous, afraid of noises and things like that. Both of them have lived with both cats and dogs. A lot of people are looking for animals that can do well in an environment with a dog or with an existing cat. So these guys might be good options for that. If you were to adopt these guys, you would get a $20 reduction off your adoption fee for adopting two. Our next guest is continuing our Super Mario Brothers theme. This is Toadette, and she is about 2 to 3 years old. She only weighs just over 6 pounds, so she is one of those petite girls, one of those forever kittens. She is also one of our shyer cats. So Toadette would probably do better in an environment, at least initially, that's going to be a little bit more quiet, a little bit more patient, understanding that she can be a little nervous. Even here in the shelter environment, she started to warm up very quickly within the last week or so, whereas she was always in her litter box, didn't really want to come out. Now she's in the top of her hammock, and when she sees somebody standing in front of her cage, after a minute, she knows they're not going anywhere. She does come right up front. She likes the attention. She shows you where she wants to be rubbed and petted. So she has a lot of great qualities. She just needs a family that's going to be understanding that at first she's going to be a little more nervous than maybe some of the other cats on the floor. Because she is a more petite cat, it's also important to kind of pay more attention to her food intake. The smaller cats can get overweight more easily. So, you know, you might say, oh, my cat only weighs 10 pounds, but if she has a frame like Toadette, then that's going to be really overweight. So you just want to be paying attention to those types of things. She did come to us as a stray, so we don't have a history on her. But again, she's doing very well, starting to make a lot of progress. She is very good at showing you where she wants to be petted. She will rub into you and switch sides so that she's like, okay, this side's done. I would like the other side rubbed. She is quick to purr. she just needs that family again that's going to be a little bit more patient. Not necessarily saying that there couldn't be kids or anything in that household, but just maybe, you know, kids that are, you know, 8 and up might be a better fit for her, at least initially, so that she can settle into a loving family. If you give her the time, she will probably end up being one of those lap cats. She seems quite content to be on Sean's lap. She was easy to be picked up and handled, so she is going to make someone an amazing pet. If you are interested in adopting Toadette, she would be adoptable for a fee of $97.50 here at the shelter. That covers making sure that she is spayed, getting her up to date on her rabies and distemper vaccines, flea and tick preventative, dewormer. We've already microchipped her. We'll get her up to date on her county license, and then it also comes with a free well visit to the vet. So that's a great deal for such an amazing cat. This is our last guest today on the cat portion of our show. This is Carlton. He's about 5 to 6 years old. He's a domestic shorthair and he's a brown tabby. And he came into us as a stray, but then we scanned him. He was microchipped. We had already kind of given him a name and various things, and then we discovered, you know, that his name was Carlton. So we are going with the name that was on his microchip. He came in, and originally we were unsure of his gender because he has had a surgery to enlarge his urethra, and that means he was having some issues probably with some crystals and things like that. So he is also now on one of our urinary support diets. And so if you're looking to make Carlton part of your family, it's important to understand that he will need to be on that diet for the remainder of his life. It's a little bit more expensive than your traditional cat foods, but it's not an overwhelming expense. And it'll make him much healthier and happier, which will then, you know, make your entire family much healthier and happier. He did come in with a little bit of a weight problem, so a diet might not be a bad thing, although I feel like a lot of our cats come in with a little bit of a weight problem, but just kind of managing those things, keeping them under control. We have gone ahead and gotten him up to date on all of his vaccines. So he's ready to go. He just needs a loving forever family. He is also part of our Cat Positive program. So we have volunteers working with him right now to teach him things like targeting a stick, to touch it with his paw or his nose. You know, and then as he continues to be a part of that program, he will learn more and more different behaviors that he can do on cue. So that's going to be something that initially he was hiding behind his bed a little bit. That'll help him come out of his shell a little bit more. As he's adjusting to shelter life, he is right in the front of his bed now. He comes up and greets people for attention. As you can see, he's quite the lap cat. So he has a lot of great qualities. You just want to make sure that you can take care of and maintain all of his medical needs. Because he's listed as 5 to 6 years old, Carlton would go home for an adoption fee of $77.50. We hope you enjoyed meeting some of our adoptable cats. We just put out a bunch of new dogs on the adoption floor, so after the break, we're actually going to introduce you to 5 of our adoptable dogs.
The Frederick County Department of Aging is proud to announce a new initiative that is designed to streamline the application process for several benefit programs that assist older adults and persons with disabilities. This information and assistance event is a partnership of the Frederick County Department of Aging, the Maryland Food Bank, and the Frederick County Department of Social Services. One day per month at each of the county's senior centers, the Department of Aging will host representatives to assist with the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program application, formerly known as food stamps, and the Energy Assistance application. Also on hand will be the Senior Health Insurance Program Coordinator, who will answer Medicare questions and screen for Medicare subsidy programs. These events will begin at 10 a.m. and take place at the Frederick, Urbana, Emmitsburg, and Brunswick Senior Centers. Appointments are encouraged, walk-ins are welcome. For more information, to make an appointment, or in case of inclement weather, please call the Frederick County Department of Aging at 301-600-3520.
Welcome back. Our first canine guest is Ellie, and she is a 1-year-old collie mix. She came to us previously owned. Unfortunately, the family got her about 8 months ago, and now for financial reasons, they're unable to keep her. She did previously live with cats. They just said cats of all ages, and a small dog. Did not give a breed. So she's used to living in a multi-pet household. So if you have existing pets, Ellie would probably be a great fit for that. They did say that she has lived with a 3-year-old before, but she is a little bit shy. So sometimes with those shyer animals, it can be better, excuse me, to have kids that are a little bit older, for the reasons that we talk about all the time. They're not as loud. They can understand more about, being respectful. They're not, running around with lots of fast movements all the time in front of the dog. It just can be an overall a much more comfortable situation for a dog that may be a little bit fearful. The previous owner said that she was playful, energetic, friendly. She is a chewer, which is something that dogs do. You just want to make sure that you learn how to properly redirect them onto objects that they are allowed to chew on, because that's what they do. We want to make sure that they have plenty of toys to chew on, nylabones, Kongs, things like that. They do say that she is both house trained and crate trained, but we never make any guarantees about the dogs being housebroken when they come from us, although she has been keeping her kennel here clean. You want to make sure you're willing to kind of reestablish that those house training basics, especially because it's going to be a new routine, new environment. She can be a little cautious at first when you're approaching her. She reacts favorably to other dogs. She's easy to walk on the leash. She was interested in toys but wouldn't really play, and that might be something that once she's in a more comfortable environment, she does that willingly. She likes to be petted, so there's a lot of great qualities about Ellie. She just needs to find that right fit for her. Because she is an adult dog at a year old, her adoption fee would be $92.50. We are going to get her up to date on all of her vaccines. She's already been microchipped. We've gotten her, all of those things done. She just needs to find that family. So make sure that you stop in and visit with Ellie. This is Blue, and he is a blue and white pit bull mix. And he's about a year old. And when he was processed for adoption, the staff that does the processing asked me if I had any events this week, because they said this would be the perfect dog to take. He is very sweet. He's very affectionate. He's a terrier mix, so he does have some energy, but he likes to cuddle. He's very attentive to people. He likes toys. So he's a good all-around dog. When you have a pit bull mix, however, the important thing is to make sure that your landlord, if you rent, is okay with you having this type of dog. There are a lot of breeds that are restricted in rental properties. There are also a lot of size restrictions when you have pets in rental properties. So you want to make sure before you come and fall in love with an animal that you are in fact allowed to have them on the property. That is the reason that Blue made his way here to the shelter, because his owners had him on a property where the landlord did not allow pit bull mixes. So you want to make sure you're definitely doing all of that research beforehand so that you're able to keep your pet. So we have behavior assessed him, as we do all of the dogs, and the notes say he's a sweet, goofy boy who will give you all of the kisses. And he does think that he is a lap dog. He will try to get into your lap, and he's a 57-pound lap dog. So you just need to be prepared for all of that cuddle. He probably is going to take up a lot of space in your bed. They say that he keeps his kennel clean here. He's very friendly. He reacts favorably to other dogs. In fact, he has lived with a dog previously. He was a little shy getting out of the kennel. I don't know if that was a new thing. He doesn't seem to be very shy right now. They say that sometimes he can lag behind the handler, but most of the time he's your typical pit bull who pulls a little bit on the leash. He has no real issues with food aggression. He willingly lets go of objects that he's playing with, and then he loves to be petted. Sometimes he can get a little bit playfully aroused. The previous owner said that he's playful, energetic. He's a bit of a jumper. Those are things that are easy to train. Just if you ignore him when he's jumping up, barking, doing attention-seeking behaviors, then eventually he learns to sit and be quiet. And once he's doing those things, you want to make sure that you reward him with the attention that he was looking for. He does have some allergies, which are not uncommon in blue pit bulls. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track, keeping up with your vet. So we have him on some Benadryl right now, making sure that all of those skin allergy issues are being taken care of. If you were interested in Blue, you want to make sure that you stop in and visit with him here. His adoption fee would be $92.50. Our next guest is Rocky, and he's an 8-month-old puppy. He is a black and white shepherd mix, and because he is a puppy, he will be adopted through our puppy process, which essentially means that we're going to take more applications. Traditionally, we only take 2 apps for every animal, and we choose the best fit for the dog. For puppies, we will take up to 4 to make sure that we are getting the right fit. Puppies require a lot more work. You want to make sure that you're training them properly, that you have the time and energy for them. In this example of a puppy, he is a working breed dog, so he's going to need a lot more time just to make sure that somebody's giving him all of the outlets for his energy, all the mental stimulation that he needs. Because of his desire to have a job and a task to do, we are requiring that whoever adopts Rocky have a shepherd experience or some other form of a working breed, just to make sure that it's not going to be something where he ends up back here in a few weeks or a few months because they can't handle the fact that he is bored all the time and chews on the furniture because he doesn't have a task to do. We want people to be really familiar with what they're getting into so that it can be an appropriate forever home for him. The reason that his family surrendered him to us is because they did say that they didn't have enough time for him after about 3 months. So we want to make sure that we're going to get him into a situation that's going to be more of a permanent one. He has previously lived with other dogs. He lived with an 8-year-old pit bull, so he should do fine in a home with another dog. If you do have existing dogs, it is important to bring your dog in so that they can meet with the shelter dog, just to make sure that it's going to be something that is at least workable. We don't want to set any of the animals up for failure. His family said that he is a little nervous around strangers, which we have seen here in this facility. He's playful, energetic, friendly. They say that he is not yet housebroken, but that he is crate trained. He loves rope toys. Our behavior assessment indicated that he is very friendly and excited when you approach him. He reacts favorably to other dogs. He play bells, gets excited. He is kind of more difficult to interact with because he is so excited, playful, jumpy, to get him on a leash and things like that. You can read all of his full profile when you stop in to visit him here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. We did put a ton of new dogs on the adoption floor, but half of those are already being adopted. So Nina is back on the show with us today because unfortunately she doesn't have any applications right now. She is an 8-month-old pit bull mix. She has the cutest ears that I've seen in quite some time. She's very sweet, very affectionate. She's just a higher energy dog, and she's still a puppy, so she is going to need a little bit of training. Nina did come to us previously owned. The reason that the owners brought her to us and surrendered her was because they were unable to care for her and did not have enough attention to give her. They'd had her for about 7 months. So it is important when you are thinking about getting a puppy that you are prepared for the amount of work that it's going to be. We get a lot of puppies for the same reasons. People get them really young, and then when they get to be about Nina's age, they realize that they don't have as much time for them as they need. They're not able to train them properly, and then they end up here in the shelter environment. So really do a lot of soul searching, thinking about it, researching, making sure that everyone in your family is willing to participate and help with the puppy before you dive into that challenge. It can be a rewarding challenge, but it is something that is going to take up and consume a lot of your day-to-day life. Here we have learned that Nina has not been keeping her run clean, so she does still need somebody to really work with her as far as house training is concerned. She's very friendly and excited when you approach her kennel. She does well with other dogs. She is excited and jumpy, so she can be harder to get on a leash and a harness and things like that, but she does walk better on a harness. No issues with food aggression, not really interested in toys, loves to be petted and interacted with. She's very excited to see people. She'll jump all over you, but she's super sweet. So she just needs somebody who's going to be willing to commit to her and teach her some of those basic manners, things like off and not to jump on people and things like that. She does already know paw and sit, but she does still need to be kind of socialized with some other dogs and things like that. She is a kid-friendly dog who has lived with children from the ages of 7 all the way up to 16. Because she is a puppy, her adoption fee would be $150. Our final guest today is Rome, and Rome is a 2-year-old Norwegian elk hound. His color is sable. Different breeds have different color patterns, so you might say, like, you might see a color and say, oh, well, he's black, or he's black and white. That's not really accurate, but on certain dogs, on a lab mix, it would be correct. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of those things, especially if your dog were to get lost, and you tell us to look for a certain color, and it's not the actual color, we might miss it. We try to be a little bit wider in what we're looking for when we look at loss reports, but you do want to make sure that you know those things, just so that if they do get lost, we're able to get them home a little bit quicker. Rome came to us previously owned. He is a dog that was brought because his family was moving and they were unable to keep him. So a lot of places, if you're moving within Frederick County, we do have a list, I'm pretty sure on our focus page, our sister nonprofit. They have a section where you can go to and see where there's pet-friendly housing, and a lot of other rescue groups or animal shelters, if you're moving out of state or out of county, have those lists as well. So you can look for pet-friendly housing so that when you're moving, you are able to move with your pet and be able to keep them with you. According to the previous owner, they had Rome for his entire life up to this point. He has gotten along with cats and dogs, so that's important to a lot of people who maybe have a cat already or things like that. As we can see from the show today, he is a bit of a marker, so he needs some help with that. That will also be greatly reduced when we get him neutered. He is not yet neutered, so we will make sure that we neuter him. That's something that we do for all of our cats, dogs, and rabbits. When they come in, we make sure that all of them are altered before they go home. They say that he is house trained and crate trained. He has had some light training. They took him to some training at PetSmart. Here in the shelter, our behavior assessment of him indicates that he marks on walls, which we have seen today, but otherwise he keeps his kennel pretty clean. He's friendly, he reacts favorably to other dogs, he's easy to obtain. He pulls a little bit when he walks on leash. He's very intense about his food, so you want to make sure that if you have other animals, you are feeding them separately. If you have kids, you're reminding them not to just throw food around and be cautious in that regard. If you're interested in Rome, you can visit him here at the shelter, 1832 Rosemont Avenue. We hope that you enjoyed meeting so many of our adoptable pets. There are always more on the adoption floor. If you didn't see something that you're interested in, make sure that you stop by and visit. Our visiting hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturday from 10 to 4. We hope to see you soon. We hope that you'll tune in next week for another edition of Pet Pals.
Many volunteer opportunities are available on Frederick County boards and commissions, whether the Commission on Aging, Human Relations Commission, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, Workforce Development Board, or many others. Those desiring to serve must be residents and registered voters of Frederick County. For more information, contact Joyce Grissnickel at 301-600-1102 or by email at fcgboards@frederickcountymd.gov.